Love to Hate, the podcast that asks the question, what do you love to hate?
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
Movies, television, music, books, nerd things, current events.
And I hate your ass face!
Do you love it?
No! No! Hell no! No!
Do you hate it?
Whoa! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Yes! You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard!
I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
No more foreplay.
Love to Hate starts now. Hey everybody, I'm Brandon Luna.
I'm Philip Fullman.
What? Already?
I don't know.
Already?
I don't know. I know. Yeah.
And this is Love to Hate. And what's the topic today, Phil? We got a hot one.
Man, I don't know how we want to title it, but the FDA just screwed with everybody in the cigar industry, so maybe we can use that as a lead-in, kind of broaden that to
the
government and
yeah.
freedoms or the lack thereof, or how they're slowly eroding. Mm-hmm. And kind of go over it that way. I know, and I'm thinking, cigars is limited. We've obviously know some people, but not everybody who listens to us is going to be a cigar person. But it affects them because it's the bigger picture. It's not the fact that it's cigars, but it's what it represents and that the government's able to come in and do, which is basically make choices for individuals.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the hot bit. That's the hot button issue on this FDA thing. And I think that it's getting some press because of the vape side of it, but even then the press is minimal. I mean, you're seeing very little out there. There's a couple articles, but there's really nothing on television. It's just kind of been swept under the carpet because it is an issue that, let's face it, it's not sexy.
Right.
It's something that people don't want us to do anyway. Everybody's offended by smoke. They're offended by these things. They're not offended by drunk drivers, apparently, or fast food.
Correct.
But they're offended by the things that they smell.
Even the fast food.
Yeah.
More people probably die now from obesity than anything else, and of course they will, but that's because not as many people smoke.
Yeah.
So then the obesity's not an issue, which doesn't make sense. My take on it, and this is the viewpoint I bring into it on cigars or anything. A few years ago, the Texas Rangers introduced some monstrous burger. It was something like 2,500 calories. It was just this, enormous hamburger that you could get at the games, and somebody wrote to the Dallas Morning News incensed, talking about obesity and how the Rangers should be ashamed they shouldn't be allowed to sell it. And I agree. It was an obscene burger. It was stupid. It looked disgusting to me. But the thing that I said, I wrote in a reply back, was don't eat it.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
As gross as I thought that burger was, if some guy wants to do it and shut his arteries down, that's on him. That's none of my business. He's not hurting me. I'm not forced to eat it. We're not smoking cigars in restaurants. We're not smoking them in schools, on airplanes. We're smoking them in designated cigar shops.
Yep.
Or in public areas like the street or something else where you're not trapped by it.
Exactly, yeah.
So why not just give me that choice?
Yeah, it's hard, man, because, I mean, it is one of these things that, you experience it all the time, I'm sure I do. If you're ever smoking out on the street or if you walk out of a cigar shop, invariably there's going to be someone there that's just walked out of a yoga place next door or walked out of the clothing store next door, and they're going to go,
Yeah. Oh my God, he's smoking a cigar. It's so nasty.
Something like that happens, yeah.
They do, and let's confront right now. Women or people, let's go, because guys do yoga too.
That could be a guy too. It just depends on it. Yeah.
People who walk out of yoga studios can be a little obnoxious.
Well, yeah.
It's like the guy who's coming out of AA.
Or the froyo place, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that,
I mean, think about it. Who is more adamant against drinking than a lot of people who come out of AA?
Well, yeah.
Right. But there are those who then demonize those who still drink. Mm-hmm. And that's not right, because it's like, man, that's not their issue. You had an issue with it. They don't. You can't demonize the alcohol. You used to smoke cigarettes. You stopped. Doesn't mean you have a right to criticize this guy. It's your personal stuff. Just because I don't want to sit there and do the flying lotus position and find my chi, and I want to smoke a cigar, doesn't give you the right to look your nose down at me.
Yeah.
Or look down your nose at me. Something. I don't know. If you're in a lotus position, I don't know where your nose is, but, it's
I like watching yoga. Downward dog's pretty nice. But you know what I mean. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just that thing. I mean, it's that thing that is offensive because it's it's nose related. People can smell it. They know they know it's happening around them. I mean, I can be at a festival or something down in Frisco or somewhere else, and if I'm smoking a cigar, hand to God, someone at least somewhere says something about it or moves away because of it. And
so
that is the reason that it's become this issue.
I think that if they smelled like sugar cookies or a Dunkin' Donuts, you wouldn't have an issue. Nobody would be thinking about secondhand smoke.
Someone needs to find a way to make the cigars taste like or smell like that. Then not necessarily.
They could.
Yeah, and acids don't. They smell like a French horse, so that doesn't really work. It's you got to get something that smells a little better. Yeah, because
then you get judged for visiting French whorehouses.
Exactly.
It's like, where does that get you?
It smells like the Red District. What the hell is this?
There's I don't like the smell of Bed Bath & Beyond. To me, that is sensory overload. Me too. It's acrid. I start sneezing. But I've had coworkers who the latest scented hand lotion, they put perfume on, they've got all of this, and I'm sitting there at work sneezing because of the fact that they're wearing so much of this stuff. I don't like it. I don't like the smell of it, just like they don't like the smell of my cigar. Now, there's a couple of states. One I want to say Massachusetts. It's one of the New England states. And I think it's one of the state offices in Oklahoma or one of the cities in Oklahoma that has banned perfumes and scented lotions because it bothers your coworker. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what? Should I jump on the bandwagon and be like, hell yeah, I want to go work there because you don't get to wear your perfume? No, because you're now in the same boat I am. So congratulations. You're sitting here griping about my cigars. Now somebody's saying, well, your lotion bothers somebody and you don't get to wear that. How's it feel?
Yeah. This all boils down to individual people having too much power over other people. That's really what it boils down to, is that one person has a problem with it, other people jump on the bandwagon, and now it becomes something that becomes a law or a rule, and it's never been that way. It shouldn't be that way. Especially when you're talking about a legal product that we should be able to do in the privacy of our own home, in designated areas. This shouldn't be happening. I mean, just hands down.
No, there was. I'm trolling the FDA on their website now.
Excellent.
I'm refraining. I'm refraining from profanity. I don't think that helps the argument. Lord knows I could probably, come up with some choice words. I don't think that helps. I think that makes us look ignorant, or just like, well, look at this guy. But one of the posts I had yesterday, was talking about the number of youth and how youth smoking has increased. And my response was define youth. Yeah. Because according to the law, an 18-year-old can legally come into my cigar shop and buy cigars. So who are these youth? Are you talking about people under 18? Are you talking about 18-year-olds? Because if you have an issue with the 18-year-olds, for one, come into my shop and see how many 18-year-olds hang out. For two, change the law. Make it 21.
Right.
Make it the same as the drinking age.
Exactly.
Now, ignore the fact that same 18-year-old can go to a foreign country and get shot at
and
to
die
defend
for his
freedom.
Country, yeah, exactly.
But he can't smoke a cigar.
Or
drink.
Yeah.
But the idea that it's affecting youth, those kids aren't buying our cigars.
Yeah.
They are getting them from convenience stores. They are not handmade cigars. They're coming out of a machine, but they have lumped us all together, and now they've decided we're going to take your choice, and we're going to put you out of business. They think they're just saving people. It's like, what about the economy? What about my friends who stand to lose their job?
Yeah. So
they don't care about
for those that don't know, let's educate a little bit of people on some of these issues here. So the FDA put out a deeming document a while back, and there was a lot of movement in the cigar industry to try and change some of these things because there was some verbiage in there that basically was causing people to panic. And the issue was they put these things in there to kind of really deal with the vape issue. They're really trying to attack the vaping community because it's really exploded. It's become a way to get new smokers into smoking. Apparently it's supposed to be a way to stop smoking, but you got all these kids getting it because they can, and there's getting 30 grams of tobacco in one thing, and it's just gotten out of hand, and there's no control on it. So it's their way of trying to get control of that. But in doing that, they've lumped cigars in with it. They've lumped in a bunch of other stuff as well, and just kind of thrown it into one giant thing. So they have a date of 2007 as the date that They're saying if any cigar that was made before this date is fine, we're not going to mess with it. But anything that was made after this date has to be submitted for approval by blend and by size, and there's a cost associated with that. And the rumors are 100,000 plus. Some people are saying 500.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's 6 figures. So imagine, let's say, you're Paula Deen, and you make all these pots and pans, and they say, you know what? There's some things in those pot and pans that when you cook with them, it might cause a little problem and people might be getting cancer from this. So we're going to make you submit all your pots and pans for us to approve each one of those pots and pans that you make, and you probably put out about 20 of them a year.
Oh, so I got to submit the big skillet and the egg pan and the saute pan?
$100,000 each. Do you really think that Paula Deen would continue to put out these skillets? She'd probably say, yep, I'm done.
Yeah, she doesn't need the money.
Exactly. But cigar people, this is their livelihood. You know, Paula Deen has a show. Well, now she's kind of off the radar because of the whole,
racist thing.
Yeah, exactly. But, it was an example. But, I mean,
yeah, no.
For us, it's people who have a livelihood based on this. They've built this as much as they can over time. They're small companies that have only a few employees. I mean, how many people do you think work in any given cigar shop on average?
5.
So small business, basically.
Yeah.
And then you got the manufacturers that have maybe 100 people working for them at any given time, and that's a large manufacturer. There's probably bigger that have more. But anyway, these are companies that have been going for about however many years, and if this happens, it's going to drive such a wedge in the industry that a lot of these companies are going to just basically close down. They're not going to be able to afford these $100,000 a blend per size cigar things because it's astronomical how much they're asking.
Well, and I'm sure there's this thought on the uneducated mind, and by that I mean government or people who are legislating this. Well, if they own a cigar company, they've got to be loaded. Mm-hmm. No, maybe they were just pursuing the American dream and decided, hey, you know what? Let's get together and blend a cigar and try to sell it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're loaded and that this isn't their livelihood.
Yeah.
This for a lot of guys isn't a hobby or a secondary job where they're just making a little scratch on the side. This is what they wake up to do every day, and now you're screwing with their livelihood for a large part because you don't freaking understand what a cigar is and what goes into it, but also because you've demonized all smoking. Yep. Because you've just decided, I don't like what you do because it's bad for you. And you know what? I'm not going to let you do anything that's bad for you. It's like a bunch of freaking hall monitors grew up and all of a sudden went into government service. Yeah. The kid who loved narking because you were, 3 seconds late to class because you had to hit the head.
Yeah. We've become a mother state, basically. I mean,
we have. Well, you had Bloomberg. I think it was Bloomberg in New York City. Mm-hmm. Was going to ban the large sodas. Obesity is an epidemic. We can't be getting these 56-ounce sodas. I can't drink 56 ounces of soda, nor do I want to. But if some guy wants to, I don't care.
Yeah.
Why are we telling him he doesn't have the right to do that?
Exactly.
That is not the government's place. It's nobody's place. And so now we're dealing with the, I guess we have until August 8th. Mm-hmm. Anything on the market prior to August 8th of this year is then exempt. Now, there is a House Appropriations bill that was passed that contains language in it that will exempt premium cigars. That's part of the Agriculture Department's budget.
Correct.
So basically, if the FDA wants their budget money for 2017, they're not able to legislate the premium cigars. That's still in that bill. Now, it's still got to go to the House and Senate. Whether that language remains or is passed, we don't know. The other thing, that's probably not going to get voted on until after the November election. I don't know if you know this, but there's a presidential election coming up.
Yeah, there is.
Have you heard anything about it?
I have, and we don't really have anyone that's running that's worth a shit. So
no, that's true. It's
kind of interesting. The worst presidential election season ever
in
the history
it's
of our country.
It's pretty sad. So that's going to leave the industry and a lot of people in limbo between August and November. Or after November, whenever the FDA, is expecting their budget. So, talk about sitting and waiting on pins and needles.
Yeah. And we have the big show coming up. For those that aren't necessarily cigar smokers, there's a show that happens once a year called the IPCPR show. It's the show where all the cigar basically people who own cigar shops.
It's like a
pipes.
boat show at
Yeah.
a state fair, but with cigars.
Yeah. Gun show with cigars. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And everybody goes and they have a good old time and you get to see all the new product and buy all the new product. Well, now there's this giant gray cloud that's going to rain shit on that entire thing.
Yeah, because how am I as a retailer, how am I supposed to go into this? Where do I sink my money?
Yeah.
What do I want to put on my shelves? And I think a question that a lot of the smaller companies can ask, because after August 8th, they have 2 years to submit for approval. You could theoretically just stay on the shelves 2 years and at the end of it go, you know what? We're done.
We're good.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
we're good.
And then
Yeah.
just pull your product, which not necessarily a bad idea, but if you want to stay in it for the long haul, you
Yeah.
have to consider, okay, do I wait it out to see what, if this appropriations bill gets passed?
Yeah.
It's just limbo sucks.
Think about being in that situation. You found your dream job. You're living the American dream. You've started a cigar company. You're making cigars that people like. It's getting traction. You're doing great things. You're like, man, this is where I wanted to be. I said I was going to be here in 5 years. I got here in 2. This is awesome. Guess what? You got 2 more years to go. And then you're freaking hosed because the government decided that what you're doing is bad and people shouldn't be allowed to
And they know better
smoke.
because your product's getting into the hands of 15-year-olds. And I call bullshit on that.
Oh, big time.
Because
Big time.
I can tell you, I don't know what it's like in convenience stores. Never worked at a convenience store. Couldn't tell you. I saw clerks once. Well, a lot of times. But in cigar shops, you get carded a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody walks in that's questionable, they're getting carded.
Yeah.
So you don't have these kids buying cigars from us, from the retailers. They're not walking into the humidor picking out cigars. It just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
So then where are they getting them? And furthermore, what are they smoking? Because they don't know anything about my cigars.
No. They know about Swishers and White
White
Owls
Owls
and stuff
and-
like that.
Yeah.
That's the stuff they're trying to get for a different reason altogether.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
that-
again,
that
now
different
we're
reason-
demonized
Yeah.
because it has the same name.
And that different reason is legal in a lot of states now, which is great.
Think of how many times, okay, pot, not part of the FDA.
Yeah.
How many commercials do you see for vitamin supplements, fish oil, whatever, any type of herb, and it says these statements not verified by the FDA? It's like, wait, you can sell this and it's not sent to the FDA? Or
Yeah.
they haven't looked at it?
Isn't that great?
What about these vitamin stores, GNC, places like that? You're telling me all of that stuff's been submitted for government approval?
Oh, no.
Yeah, they skate around it because it's an herb. It's natural.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that the skate around?
Yeah. This is an herb. This is
This is
natural.
natural.
This is all natural.
I think we found a new argument.
Yeah.
It's like, this is completely natural. What are you talking about? If this is this... Holy shit. No, this is no different than GNC then.
Exactly.
They can't touch it because they're like, oh no, it's grown in the ground and it comes from God and nature and the soil. Well, so does this.
We'd practically have to start up a religion that involves smoking tobacco for us to be able to do it without any kind of causality.
You kind of would. And when did everybody just get so
I don't
pissed
know, man.
off
I
about
don't know.
everything?
I don't know. I think
Oh my God, is that guy smoking? Oh, that's horrible. He's a horrible human being. Oh, wait. How much fat is on that? Oh, this. Who cares? Wasn't there a time in this country where we just let people be?
Yeah.
Now, granted, there was a lot more racism and a lot of sexism and all of that. So in those ways, we've progressed. But in other ways, we've gone backwards because now we decide we're going to get in everybody's business.
Yeah.
And that's really not the government's job.
And the problem with their idea, this whole survival of the fittest idea, is that now we're going to have a lot more people on this earth because no one can smoke now and no one will be able to drink soon enough, I'm sure. And then it's just going to explode under the weight of itself.
Wow, you think someday the only restaurant we'll have to choose from will be Taco Bell?
Yeah.
It is. It's becoming Demolition Man.
Exactly, yeah.
It really is. Because somebody's telling you, we've decided, you know what? Too many sexually transmitted diseases. From now on, you can't have sex that
Just
way.
virtual reality sex, yeah.
Yeah. They're so upset. We want to protect everybody from everything, and we keep talking about... And granted, losing a loved one is horrible. It is. It leaves a void in your life. But the idea of we can now live into our hundreds
Yeah, that's
Didn't anybody watch season 4 of Torchwood? I mean, the Earth really isn't designed for that many people.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm living to 100, how much burden am I putting on the system?
Yeah, we really kind of need a Logan's Run thing going on. You know,
you kind of do. But seriously, I mean, a lot of these things, Social Security, it was put in place. People were living into their 60s. Mm-hmm. And now they're saying, hey, people are living into their 80s. Hey, now there's nobody to pay into Social Security because we didn't know that many baby boomers were actually going to live.
Right.
We didn't know they were going to get artificial hips and start watching what they eat. We figured they'd be dead. Nope, they're still kicking.
Yeah.
So there's a part of that. And I don't think it's necessarily bad that we live longer. But by God, if I've got to be on this planet an extra 5 years, I better be able to frickin' smoke a cigar.
And drink my booze.
Yeah, you
and
think
I'm whatever the hell
you
I
think
want.
I'm grumpy
yeah.
now?
Oh,
Find me at 86 and tell me I can't smoke a cigar.
No kidding, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my grandfather's 93 years old, and one of the only things he gets to do that he enjoys to do when we visit him, he asks for his tequila and he asks for a cigar. And while he's not supposed to do those things in the home, we always take him outside and we do those things. And they don't say anything. You know why? Because he's a freaking human being, and it's his one little chance at happiness because he sits there all day and stares at a TV. So for us to not have that option,
right,
that's some bull crap. I mean, that is straight up just total BS. It's not the way things should be right now. And for the government to come in and say these things, yet they're behind our back doing it. I mean, how many of these senators and stuff you think actually smoke cigars and probably smoke Cubans illegally?
They could.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really know where it's going, man. It scares the hell out of me that the government has this much of a hold on us right now, and that people just, you know, like cows and cattle and lemmings just go along with it, you know?
Well, but that's all going to change because everybody's going to pick the candidate that's going to change everything.
Okay.
Whether the Republican candidate or the Democratic candidate, everything will get better.
I love how people think that.
Yeah.
But yet everything that these people are saying, let's look back at the history of what presidents have promised, probably since the 60s or 70s. 90% of what they had on their platform never came into fruition because they can't do what they're saying they're going to do. You have to get people to back you. You have to get all these other entities to say, okay, let's do that for it to happen.
You mean like the House and Senate?
Yeah.
So would a politician then need to compromise in order to achieve some of their goals?
Yes.
Huh. Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
There was an article in the morning news this weekend. It was great. It talked about the brain and how it has system 1 and system 2. Basically, system 1 of the brain is when you know 2 and 2 is 4 when you look at it, or you walk outside and you're like, oh, it's warm. No real process. System 2 is when you're trying to figure out your taxes or figure out interest, where you're really having to delve into it, and it related it to presidential candidates. And the reactionary or just the initial off the top of your head thought, and it mentioned presidents like Kennedy, Reagan, fantastic system 1 presidents, because they can stir you up with that idea and you're like, yes, that's it. And then you get the system 2 president who's more methodical, more, okay, we really need to think about this. They talked about the fact that Bill Clinton kind of rode the line between that, where he was very affable, but then would also kind of contemplate an issue. And then now you've got Trump, very system 1, appeals to just hey, you know what? Yeah, I am pissed off. And then you've got Hillary sitting there going, okay, so in order to do this, let's take a step back, take the emotion out, and look at how we're going to do this. So you've got that appeal to both sides of the brain, and that made a lot of sense to me, because I thought for all of Trump's speeches and everything, he's appealing to what all of us, regardless of whether we like him or not, all of us feel. Hey, fix things, make it better. What the hell's going on? Why am I paying so much and seeing so little? So we get riled up and angry.
Yeah.
But then how do you change it? And that's the key. And I think that's the thing with the cigar issue. We can get angry and pissed off at the FDA, but what can we do that's constructive so we don't come across as, just a bunch of yahoos, where you can make an argument? And I think it comes down to the argument of, this is my choice. Nobody's being forced to smoke a cigar. Nobody's being forced to come into my shop. that and GNC selling shit, so
Exactly, right.
that's going to become my second argument.
Yeah.
But I think that has to be presented. Sadly, though, in my heart of hearts, they don't give a shit.
No, they don't. No,
They don't really care. They just think smoking's bad. So if that puts me out of a job, you out of a job, or any of our friends out of a job, that's too bad because we were dancing with the devil anyway.
And a couple of third world countries, by the way, too, will also have
Yes.
a very large hit on their economy because of this.
You know, the ambassadors from the Dominican, Nicaragua, and
Honduras
actually spoke about this and actually came over here and met with senators and congressmen going, hey, this is going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we've had dealings with those third world countries before, and where we, you know, maybe sneak them some weapons to defeat one group. And it's like, do we really want to put these countries in upheaval? Furthermore, do we really want any other countries pissed off at us right now?
Yeah. And you got to look at the bigger picture, too. Do we really want another prohibition?
Exactly.
Because that's what's going to happen here. If you put so many restrictions on this, people are going to find a way to still get this product. Sure. There's going to be shops selling it out the back door for a premium price. Of course, some sort of mafia, some sort of gangsters are going to get involved here, and you're looking at a smaller version of prohibition. Yes, there's not that many smokers, but the ones that do smoke are very passionate about their smoking.
Right.
They're unfortunately just kind of lazy about going to their senator and talking to them.
Yeah, which you guys really need to do if you haven't. You need to find out who these guys are and how they're going to vote on this bill when it hits the House and it hits the Senate.
Yeah.
Because they really have the say-so on this.
This is when social media is the best thing in the world. Whenever, because I mean, a lot of cigar smokers, I'm a cigar rep, so I go in shop after shop after shop after shop. I bring up this issue. Usually, one person in the shop, and it's usually someone younger, in their 30s, let's say, knows about the issue, and the rest of the people that are in their 40s or 50s or 60s have no freaking clue what I'm talking about, and just assume that it'll be taken care of. It's tried to happen before. Nothing's going to happen. So, unfortunately for us, most of the smokers are in that 40, 50, 60 range or older, and I think we're going to have an uphill battle here. But the ones that are in their 30s, the ones that are good with social media, please, for the love of God, use social media. Go just flame the FDA.
Absolutely.
Go to your senator, write those letters. There's form letters out there that you can cut and paste, make it easier on yourself.
There was the White House petition. Did you see that online
I did,
today?
And I saw
all you got to do is
yeah.
put your name on it.
Exactly.
And it's one of those, I mean, they send all sorts of shit to the White House like, hey, they canceled my TV show. And if they get 100,000, I think, signatures, they have to address it. Mm-hmm. So the White House has had to address some stupid stuff. This is not a stupid thing. You're talking about people's livelihoods.
So what I'm going to do for this episode, because it is a very special episode of Love to Hate, I'm going to put those links at the in the show notes. So when you look at the show on whether you're on YouTube or on Spreaker or wherever, look at the show notes. There'll be a link there for the petition. There'll be a link there for the CRA. If you're not a member of the CRA yet, shame on you. Go sign up. They're the ones that are out there fighting for you. And, just look at the links, read the information, and get knowledgeable on it, because this is a hot button issue that we're going to have to deal with very soon. And if we don't handle it, these things that we love, these freedoms are going to get chipped away, and it might end up being something you actually care about next time, like booze or whatever, or your GNC vitamins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. Even those of us or the guys who sit in cigar shops and want to complain about how the government's handling this, or they have no right to take away my cigars, all of those things I agree with. I can't change that. You can't change that. Nobody in that shop, unless you're senator, you're in a cigar shop with your senator, in which case, go to work. But we can't fix it. But shoot them an email. Find them on Twitter. You only have 140, 120 characters to work with. Let them know where you stand on this, because they're the only ones who can change it. So griping with a bunch of your buddies changes nothing. Letting somebody who actually has a say in the matter hear your opinion does. And it doesn't have to be this long letter that you're writing to them.
Correct, yeah. Just something small that just kind of gets the point across.
It's almost like raising your hand saying yay or nay.
Yeah.
I want to be counted on this side or that side.
And really, let's get the FDA focused where they need to focus on food, which is a really big issue in this country.
Yeah.
There's way too much fast food out there causing all kinds of problems. drugs. Let's look at this. I have someone in my family that's type 1 diabetic. There's been stuff out there that's already been, tested, that's ready to go, subcutaneous patches where you basically put the patch under your skin, and for 30 days you don't have to shoot up insulin. Insulin, you can take it once a day. That one finally came out, but there's all kinds of restrictions on it, and it could kill you and all kinds of great stuff. But there's all these things. There's cures or close to cures for type 1 diabetes, and instead of them focusing on that, they're focusing on this. Really, guys? Is it because you can get a whole bunch of money from the cigar industry, or you think you can? In reality, what's going to happen is you're going to close up a lot of the cigar industry. And yes, cigars are going to go away. There's still going to be some stuff out there, not necessarily stuff that everybody wants to smoke, but you're not going to get the money that you think you're going to get. So if this is money-based, and I really think it is,
I agree.
You're doing the wrong freaking thing. You want to go after someone with some money? Go after McDonald's. Go after Burger King. Go after Chick-fil-A. Go after distilleries and booze and all that other stuff. There's other things you can go after that have a hell of a lot more money than the cigar industry. So refocus.
Yeah, I mean, it being a money issue. And, yeah, I always go back to, hey, if your kid's fat, McDonald's didn't make them fat. It's the same argument gun owners use. Guns kill people like spoons made Rosie O'Donnell fat.
Yeah.
You know what? Spoon doesn't make anybody fat. Your kid got fat because you bought him a PlayStation and you feed him fast food all 3 meals and you never make him go outside. That's not on the company. That's not on PlayStation. That's on you as a parent.
Yep.
The reason you're fat is not because McDonald's made you fat. You made yourself fat because you never moved and you ate 3/4 pounders. I think you could talk to the CEO of McDonald's and he would tell you, fuck no, don't eat 3/4 pounders. That's insane. What are you doing? That's not healthy.
Right.
I mean, thanks for the business, but God, look at yourself. There's got to be some common sense, but we don't practice that.
And that's why the FDA is where they are now. They think that we don't have common sense. They're going to make the decisions for us.
How scary is it that we have done such a piss poor job with our life choices that suddenly the FDA and the government thinks, whew, all right, I guess we better step in. This is getting out of hand. Like, wait. Some of us can still think for ourselves.
Right.
Oh my God. It's I don't know. I'm old enough that I remember when you were allowed to make those decisions and people just kind of left you alone as long as you didn't infringe on their stuff. And the thing people don't realize is if you start taking somebody else's stuff, pretty soon they're going to come for your stuff. It's like the censorship argument. It's like, we don't like that album. We're going to take it. Yeah, you know what? Pretty soon they're going to be coming for your Starland Vocal Land album because you're going to figure out what Afternoon Delight's about. Or somebody's
What's that
going to...
about?
See, when a man loves a woman or a woman loves a man and it's noon and they get a lunch hour...
Oh, is that about doing it?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know what that's about.
You knew that. No, I just, they could come after your Barry Manilow albums because somebody's offended. That's the problem with letting every offended person
have a say.
Yes, and when did it? It's kind of the idea of we've gone from a country that says equal opportunity to equal outcome. Everybody should get a chance. Doesn't mean everybody's going to win. That's life. It's kind of like, kids soccer games or softball games. You know what? You both got a chance to go out there and play. You didn't get anything because you lost. That's life. You can try as hard as you can. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. That's okay. But now we want it to be, everybody should be a winner. In business, whatever. And also, you should never have to be offended. You should not have to hear anything that offends you, makes you upset, disturbs you. And in order to do that, we're going to trot all over this guy's rights and his First Amendment rights to make sure that nothing is said that ever offends your ears.
Right.
And that's bullshit.
It is bullshit, yeah. Welcome to the world we live in today, people.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. So, I mean, I think, little rebellion's a good thing. I go back to this. I see all these kids wearing the Obey shirts, and I know it's supposed to be sarcastic, where it's like, oh, look, Obey. Like it's this George Orwell 1984 thing, but it just means I'm not really supposed to obey.
Yeah.
Regardless, you're wearing a shirt that says Obey. In my day, you wore an anarchy shirt.
Yeah.
And it just, it just represents two different things. Kids used to be all about, no, don't tell me what to do. Now it's kind of like, oh, okay, somebody going to think for me?
Right.
And there's a lot of that.
Yeah, there is.
And
There is.
I've seen that when the time I worked in education. It's very easy to just do it for me, think for me. Like, you understand at some point you're going to be on your own and you're going to have to figure some stuff out.
Oh, people don't move out anymore. They stay home until they're 30 or something.
Yeah, there is that.
That's part of the whole problem. I mean, you got a whole couple generations of parents that basically didn't do their job. And I don't know if that's from the 80s or the...
Because we're Gen X.
Yeah, we are. But
I didn't know Gen X started right after the baby boom, but it did. So Gen X, I think, starts, 65?
That early?
Yeah.
For Gen X?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like 65, 66. So it's like...
So it's my parents and me, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But, I mean, there's a lot of parents not doing the right thing out there. Like you said, they're letting the kids sit there and play PlayStation and
Don't
eat
be your
fast
kid's
food
friend. Look, if you're so hard up for friends that you have kids in order for them to be your friends, or you want to be friends with your kids, you're an adult. Find some friends your own freaking age and act like a parent.
Yeah.
You can get along with your kids, but that doesn't mean you have to be buddies with them. And quit with all the creepy photos, too. There's way too many of those, like all the creepy family photos. It's like, okay, you're related. You're not supposed to be taking, all these family photos that look so, staged and everything. It's like, you guys actually look kind of creepy together.
Right.
It's like, stop
all wearing
that.
the same white shirts and
Yeah.
jeans and
Knock it off.
laying on top of each other in a pile.
Yeah, because the next thing you know, they're going to want tax-exempt status as a cult. We're the Johnsons. Yeah, there's just too much of that. So they need to knock that off.
Yeah. So if anybody's out there that wants to start a cigar cult, cigar religion, we'll say that sounds better. Please do so, and then we'll get all the tax
Isn't
exemptions.
there the
and
Church of the
everything
Flying Spaghetti Monster
Yeah.
monster that's tax exempt?
Oh yeah. There's all kinds of that stuff. Friggin' Scientology. Come on.
Oh yeah, good point.
Based on a fiction novel.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
that was a brilliant bit of marketing.
it was.
Talk about knowing your audience.
Right.
He was like the snake oil salesman who rides into town and stands on the back of the wagon and tells everybody how basically what I guess is castor oil is going to cure everything. Everybody's like, oh my God, listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. This is fantastic. And it's just, yeah, you got to find the rubes.
Yep.
And apparently there's a lot of famous rubes.
There is. Yeah.
So,
It's a scary thing.
yeah, because how many times do you see stuff on TV and you just scratch your head and you're like, oh my God, people are nodding. How are they agreeing with this? Or,
Right.
is somebody actually going to call that 800 number and buy this? Because actually, it looks broken now. I don't think that actually made that pita in 7 seconds.
Yeah, we're living in a funny world, man, and it's getting dangerous out there.
It is.
It's getting dangerous out there for freedom. I'll tell you that.
It is, and it sucks, man, because that's what this whole country was founded on, and especially Texas.
Yeah.
Texans appreciate their freedom. I mean, that's drilled into us. Is the idea of nobody's going to tell us what to do. We go our own way, and that's when you think about America basically saying, you know what? No, we're going to do it our way. In fact, we're going to start a war because we don't want to be a part of your system. So that's inherent in us, this idea of, no, I don't have to. If I don't like it, I can change it. I can do my own thing. Leave me be. Let me find my own way. And now they're trying to take that because somehow you and I sitting here in my office smoking cigars is offending somebody.
Yeah. The problem we have, though, is the
And
military...
go ahead.
The military is run by the government now,
Yeah.
and anybody that has an opinion about something and wants to change it, they're not warriors, they're keyboard warriors. So you get on your keyboard, you say a bunch of stupid things, maybe one person says it on TV, and it becomes a thing for like half an hour, and then it's gone. So...
It's on to the next big story.
Yeah.
I would say I would invite anybody who thinks Brandon and I are offending him right now with our cigars. Write or text us. I still don't remember the Twitter feed. But you know what? Come join us on the show. Tell us why we're offending you. Love to talk to you, really. Be nothing but respectful.
We would love to hear from you. Yeah. So check us out on the Twitter sphere at Love to Hate Podcast. We've got the Google email address, and that's love, the number 2, hate podcast. We've got the email address, which is love to hate hobbyistpodcast@gmail.com. And those are the two places you can find us right now. We're still trying to get on iHeartRadio. Hopefully that'll happen soon. But for now, you can go to Spreaker and find us, and pretty soon you'll be able to find us on iTunes as well.
And if you like this episode and you find, retweet it.
Yes, please.
Retweet the link. I put this up on my Facebook page. Brandon puts it up on his. So if you're listening and you're friends of ours, share it. Send it out to some other people. Who knows? Maybe Brandon and I take you with us and we go and we speak to the FDA. Maybe we get called to Washington.
That'd be great.
I honest to God would love to sit in front of a congressional committee and explain this.
Yeah.
I really would. Because of the idea of, look, this is really easy. Common sense. Just cut through all of this. Here, let's bottom line it.
It'd be nice.
It'd
be
would.
Nice. Someone has to do it.
Why not us?
Why not?
All right.
All right. See you next time.
Take care, kids.